Hi everyone, Stepan here. In this video I'm going to go over my round 3 game from Rabac. So after winning in round 1 against a low rated opponent and losing in round 2 against a high rated opponent, I got paired against someone much weaker than me according to rating once again in round 3. So I'm facing a really young opponent rated 1200, and this was a double round day, so this was the second game in the day. After playing a long game in the morning and losing, you can imagine I wasn't feeling my best, so I was kind of stressed not to mess this up, because last year in Rabac I did mess up a round 3 against a weaker opponent, so I wanted to do well. I had no idea what I was going to play. I'd basically decided 20 minutes before the game that I'm going to stick to e4. My opponent, as most young players in Croatia and everywhere, plays e4 with white and then plays e5 against e4. So we got e4, e5, the Italian, and in this position she played knight f6. Now, in every single one of my games so far I've played knight g5, and I have a lot of experience with this move. However, since she plays this with white, I wanted to avoid it, so I wanted to go into a normal Giuoco piano, because I know how to do that as well. So d3 and bishop c5 was played. Bishop e7 is kind of different, but I'm more prepared for bishop e7 than for bishop c5. And in this position I played c3. Now she can go into normal Giuoco piano lines with d6, and then that's just a normal game, which I've played a million times, when black starts with bishop c5 instead of knight f6. But my opponent played a6 here, and funnily enough, a day before the game, Vlatko, my teammate who was playing the tournament with me, and I have been discussing this early a6, and we've been discussing why would black do that without playing d6 and castles. And since he is sort of an expert on the black side of this, compared to me at least, he was explaining stuff to me, but I have to admit I wasn't really trying to understand, because I didn't think this would ever happen. So I was kind of, well, not prepared for this. So I just castled. I could probably play other moves, and my opponent castled here. Now, she could play d6 or bishop a7, I imagine, transposing to normal lines. For example, if bishop a7, bishop to b3, and d6, we are now in the normal Giuoco piano. But she castled, and here it's obvious that black can play d5 unless I do something about it. So what I can do about it is bishop b3, anticipating d5, or I can play d4, striking out before she plays d5, or I can just continue and meet d5 the way I did. I just played knight bd2. And when she played d5, again, I wasn't sure if I'd messed up or not. I mean, if you allow d5 too early in the Italian, maybe black is doing well. And since I never had this position during my prep or in a game, I was kind of confused. Now, I knew that it couldn't be much worse if I was worse or equal, but I still didn't understand it, so I spent a lot of time here. Of course I'm going to take on d5, that my next move wasn't the problem, but I wanted to understand the position, so I sat down for like 15-20 minutes trying to understand what was going on. And I think I have understood most of what was going on and what the point behind this was. Now, the lines that I've been calculating during those 20 minutes led to something I'd seen before, and I'm going to show you that. So I take on d5, she takes with the knight, of course, and I played rook e1. Now, there are positions after bishop g4, which she'd played, where we trade the e5 pawn for the d3 pawn, and it's supposed to be equal. Maybe white is slightly better. And I've actually had those positions against Vlatko via a different move order. So I wanted to reach that, and I thought that was the worst possible outcome from the opening, and that's okay, because I have some experience. Okay, so I played knight e4. She, of course, has to retreat the bishop now to a7, and I played h3. Now, h3 is a tricky move if you don't know the lines I was just talking about. which go bishop h5, and I go knight g3, obviously, threatening to win the pawn. But she could play bishop g6, and after knight e5, rook e5, there's this move knight b6. And there's a theoretical line, which I don't fully remember, but it has this exact setup via a different move order, where after bishop b3, black can just take on d3. And white, I think, plays queen f3. And there's pressure on b7, there's pressure on f7. Maybe I can continue bishop g5 because the f-pawn is pinned. And I like white's position, but I don't think white has anything. Black is probably fine. But after h3, she surprised me and immediately took on f3. And now, again, I haven't looked at this game with the engine, but I expect that white is already much, much better, if not close to winning. Because my queen is so well placed and this bishop is so good that there's little she can do to prevent the pressure. For example, I'm already threatening to win a piece. If she plays something stupid, let's just play a stupid move, I don't know, b5. Then I just take, and after queen takes, I have knight f6 check, winning the queen. So after queen takes f3, there's already a ton of pressure, and she basically has to move one of the knights. I think moving the d knight is better, although I could be wrong. Maybe moving the c knight is better, and then following up with c6 to blunt this bishop. But in the game she played knight d e7, which I think is bad, but I don't know what else to suggest except for knight c7. And now probably white is winning. I have two forcing moves. You can pause the video here and try to come up with an attacking setup, but I came up with what I think was best. Knight g5, simply putting pressure on f7 and forcing queen e8. And now queen h5. I could probably also go queen e5, provoking g6, but I wanted to provoke h6. Okay, and now I have a target. Obviously, bishop h6 is a threat in many positions. Knight e4. She played knight a5, and here I had my second long think. You can pause the video here. There are two really tempting moves. So I'd spent, I'm going to say, 10 minutes on bishop h6, and I concluded that it works. Or better said, I couldn't see it not working. And I have this rule, this logic, that if you see a tactic and you don't see that it doesn't work, then play it. If you're wrong, then, well, there's something you have to work on in your tactical vision. But the problem was here that I saw the other move as well. And the other move just worked cleanly. And the other move is just completely winning. And there are no complications at all. So I discarded bishop h6, even though if I had to bet, I would say bishop h6 is like plus 10 and winning immediately. I think the other move is winning more. I don't know. So basically after bishop h6, if she takes the bishop, then of course knight f6. So she cannot take the bishop. So she takes on c4. And now if I make a mistake and play d takes c4, then f5 wins for black, because my queen is attacked, my bishop is attacked, and my knight is attacked. And if I trade queens, I lose a piece. However, after bishop takes h6, knight takes c4, I play queen g5. And this is what I saw, and I'd spent the 10 minutes trying to find the refutation to this. The best I could find was knight g6, after which I thought I can just play knight f6. And if she doesn't take, I take the queen. If she takes, this is mate. I don't think there's a defense to this. So that was bishop h6, and I think it did work. I'm going to check with an engine after I finish showing you my analysis. I haven't looked at the game with an engine yet. The other move, which I thought just won cleanly, which I ended up playing because I didn't want any complications. I was stressed, so I was 99% sure that bishop h6 doesn't have any refutation at any point. But queen takes e5, I couldn't see even a slightest chance for black to complicate the position in any way. So I did this. And basically all of my threats are still here, and I won a clean pawn. I'm threatening to win a second pawn. and threatening to win the knight or trade the knights by ruining the pawn structure and then win the h6 pawn. So in this position, she played knight takes c4, which I'd expected. And now I just take d takes c4. And the only option that was worrying was knight g6, obviously. And against knight g6, I just go queen takes c7. And I saw this before queen e5. And of course, I'm threatening knight f6. I'm threatening to take the b7 pawn. I'm also threatening bishop h6. If she trades the queens, I'm winning cleanly. So here is where I stopped my calculation. This is just easily winning. In the game, she played queen d7. And now again, I can try to go into the bishop takes h6 line, which again, I'd concluded was winning. But I went for the cleaner move. So if I do go bishop h6 and she takes, then I... Whoa, sorry. And she takes, then I win the queen with knight f6. And if I go bishop h6, the only defense I could see was f6. But after queen g3, she has to move the knight. This pawn is attacked, threatening mate. After knight c6, I didn't really like this position as much because I have to play something like bishop e3. We trade bishops. Of course, white is better. Of course, white is winning 2 pawns up. But what I played in the game, I think, was cleaner. So the cleanest win here is knight f6 check. And after pawn takes, I take here. And even though I'm just 1 pawn up, I'm threatening 3 pawns after the queen moves. If she trades queens, she's losing the h6 pawn or the c7 pawn. So she played queen f5, attacking f2, bishop e3. If rook e8, I take on c7. If she allows bishop a7, then the rook is out of play, so she should really take. And this is what I saw. I just attack h6. And after king h7, I play queen e4, and that's it. Queen g6 was played. I took. If she takes with the pawn, I have rook e7 winning the c7 pawn, so she has to take with the king. And this is now very, very simply winning. Rook ac8, rook d1, b5 was played. We traded pawns. Rook d to d7. c6 is the only way to save the pawn, and now rook c7. If she doesn't do anything, for example, plays h5, then I can just take on f7. And if rook takes, then rook takes c8. And if rook takes c7, then I can take either rook, but I probably take on c7. So after rook c7, she exchanged rooks and played rook a8, attacking my pawn. I played a3. And here, I honestly think that rook d8 is the only way to try and fight, because now I can take, and she plays rook to d2. But after this, this is still over because the pawn is pinned to the rook. But after a3, she played rook a6 and king f1, and here she resigned. Obviously, there isn't a single piece she can move. If she moves the king, I take on f7. If she moves the rook, I take on c6. If she does nothing, if she just waits, for example, like this, then I can just move my king up the board, and eventually I don't know, here, eventually I'm going to go here and win the pawn. So after king f1, it was a justified resignation. It was an easy game after all. Let's just see in this position. Queen to f3. Okay, yeah. This is the critical position where I think bishop h6 just worked. Let's see what the engine says. Okay. The engine says bishop takes h6 plus 7, queen takes e5 plus 2.5. So bishop h6 was better. Let's see. Bishop h6, knight c4, correct, and queen g5, correct. And the only move is knight g6, and I play knight f6. Okay, so everything was correct. The best move is king h8, giving up the queen. So okay, my calculation was correct, but queen e5 shouldn't really be bad. Yeah, okay. D takes c4, and again bishop h6, but knight f6 is plus 3.5, and yeah, it is a 1 game. So I won round 3. I had 2 out of 3 after 3 rounds. And then the next round, I got paired against a much higher rated opponent. I'm going to show you that game next. Thank you for watching. Hope you got something from this. I mean, if there is something I don't mess up in frequently that's the opening, and this is one of the rare games where I felt uncomfortable in the opening because I didn't understand everything. But I did manage to navigate my way through it and got a good position. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.